Hello, and welcome to this, first episode of this new venture I'm doing. Welcome to History Boys, Battles, Quarrels, and Wars. I've been planning this one for a while, just, figuring out where to start with it, and this is going to be my second World War II centered one. I mean, I've taken a more of an interest in World War II in general due to sort of family connections. Maternal great granddad, one of my maternal great granddads was in the war. A few years later, my mum's dad was born. And of course, if you've seen the fun facts thing about the GIs or servicemen in my neck of the woods, then I talk about, the possible fathers of my father's father. Need to look more into that because it's really interesting. So this is the first episode, and this is about the Battle of the Ruhr. And this took place from the 5th of March to the 31st of July 1943, and it's where the Allied forces, mainly led by, just in general, by good old Blighty, the RAF, and a lot of, the RAF and the American Air Force bombed Essen in Germany, because like a lot of these World War II battles were like strategic, kind of getting one up on different on enemies, like for example, the Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor in 41 or 41 even, because of strategic stuff. Like, I can't remember quite now how to describe it because I've been drinking a bit. Yeah, it's probably why I look, if I look like a bit red-eyed and red-faced, I've been having some homemade rice wine. It's not mine. My dad likes to brew it every now and again. I'll just experiment with alcohol stuff. So I've been over there drinking on a Sunday. Ain't a shame to have a drink on Sunday, as Muddy Waters and later Nirvana said. But who cares about that? I don't go to church, even though some of my family members did. They attacked as many as 26 locations, munitions factories, like squares and stuff all over Essen. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, where the Americans bombed the Japanese in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. It's like, oh, it's terrible, but it's, it's in those days back then. It was like, if your enemy was going to have more means and ammunition, so to speak, to become a threat, what do? You nip it in the bud. So that's what they were doing. Germans did that all over, like France and parts of Britain, Belgium maybe. Also, speaking of Americans, before World War II and even World War One, there was some. It's not war, but it's close enough. That where there was, I think in 1911, there were German terrorists who attacked New York. But digressing a little bit, so the alongside the USA and the UK were Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and Canada. And the attack was led by, like I say, as I said, our RAF, led by. Sorry if I look like I'm reading it, but like I said, I've been drinking, and my short-term memory is like almost like a goldfish at times. Well, sort of. Actually, it's probably more like a mouse lemur. If that makes any sense. Yeah, it was led by Charles Portal, and the Allied effort was led by Charles Portal and Arthur Harris, who were both marshals in the RAF, and the German retaliation was led by Hermann Goering and Josef Kammhuber. They were both kind of the equivalent of they were air marshals, I think, as well, like almost like the Royal Air Force and whoever else was involved, with the Allies. And in April there was sort of a technical separate battle within the battle called the Battle of the Ruhr Pocket, and that involved a lot of mainly American forces on the ground. Took place in that year, that month. And the Allies met in Lippstadt near Essen, within the Lippstadt, Essen, whatever, was like their Germany's industrial sector. So, like I said, this was like a strategic battle. Probably had more payoff than the Dresden fire bombings, which was probably part strategic, part retaliation, and like I say, bombed a lot of places. Fun fact. It may seem like the Nazis attacked a lot of people, the Axis, the Japanese and the Nazis, and maybe some of the Italians, but mainly them. They raided a lot of places, but the thing is, Adolf Hitler, because one of the main guys who was on his side or vouched for him or built stuff for the future, what would have been the future, Third Reich stuff that never was. He was mates with an acclaimed architect called Hugo Speer. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And Adolf Hitler shared a lot of the love of architecture, like to the point where even it may sound strange, but like for example, even though Hitler, like Stalin, wanted to make sure the Slavs and / Poles were a lesser race, mainly the Poles, he didn't attack. He refused to have, for example, Warsaw attacked because he just loved the architecture there. I think the same goes for places like Leeds, where my family are from, I think, and maybe some other places that weren't in the countryside. Otherwise, the countryside in GB was, there wasn't that much collateral damage. I don't think. It's a shame. It's a shame the Japanese didn't have the same appreciation for like places in Burma, Myanmar, whatever, and Hawaii, where they just either swept in there and took it over, or bombed the shit out of it. I mean, the Germans, like in France, they attacked a lot of France. They even attacked some villages in Germany, like in the brilliant film Fury, which has Brad Pitt in it. It has John Bernthal in it. It has Shia LaBeouf in it. It has Logan Lerman in it and Michael Pena. All a great cast, every one of them. I'll have to read into that, see if it really happened, the attack on the little German village. That wasn't probably, they were probably attacked because they refused to be Nazi affiliated, which makes sense. God's sake, go away. Yeah, so on the ground, part of the Ruhr pocket, a lot of Americans were involved, and that resulted in the capture of as many as 317,000 soldiers and 24 generals from the Axis side being captured, and eventually they surrendered on the 16th of April 1943, and that was the end of that battle. But also there weren't without the losses. I mean, mainly there was a big there was up to there were up to 10,000 casualties on the Allied side, mainly the Americans who were either killed or were missing, captured, or went AWOL. Sometimes I wonder if my biological great granddad was one of them. Could be any person. But it's fun to ruminate about stuff like that. 2,000 of them were missing, killed in action, or went AWOL, whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much it on that. I mean, I'm just here having a bath, taking the time to do this. Inspiration. Inspiration is it's a funny thing. You can't force it. You can't force inspiration. You've got to mull it over. For any YouTubers who want to just get out there and stuff. I mean, I'm still relatively new I mean, technically I've been here since 2019, but actually creating content, I never really was asked doing it for some reason, or I just thought it was too hard, as I avoided it. But yeah, let's cut off the rambling a bit. That was the first episode of Battles, Quarrels, and Wars. And I'm reading it off again because one day I'll get better at editing stuff. But yeah, whatever. So that was that. So, usual spiel: like, comment, subscribe, dislike. Of course, I'll include like a thumbnail in there and maybe some image sources or an image source, whatever. So see you in the next one, and TTFN, ta-ta for now, as they used to say on my childhood show Winnie the Pooh.